Hello, my name is Kelsey Kaufman, and this is my reading log for Chapter 2. The book I chose is called Parrots over Puerto Rico. Um, this book is a nonfiction book. So the summary of story, so basically how the story goes, it's the story of how the Puerto Rican parrots almost became extinct, but luckily they were saved. So it starts out in like BCE, before anybody became on the or came to the island, and how these parrots lived on the island before then. And it goes into detail about when all the immigrants started coming to, claim the land and everything. They brought resources, and there's other stuff like natural disasters and stuff that affected the livelihood of the parrots. So they were just their numbers were just kept dropping and dropping, and they almost became extinct. Luckily, around 1968, I believe, the Puerto Rican government decided that they wanted to help and try to save these Puerto Rican birds from becoming extinct. So they decided to take in some of the eggs from the Puerto Rican parrots, so they could hold them captive, so they can train them and learn more about the species and why they are becoming extinct. They did leave some of the eggs in the wild so they could grow up in the wild. Not many of those survived. So the Puerto Ricans trained these parrots very well. So they were more aware of their surroundings, and especially aware of the hawks. The hawks were a main issue for why so many of them were dying, and why the eggs were getting eaten. So still to this day, there are Puerto Rican birds. Luckily the scientists who took those in and are helping them still survive did a great job. So that's kind of the summary of the story. It's more of it's a story, but it's also a history of Puerto Rico itself and the Puerto Rican parrots. I think this book is great for children because it's not just a book for them to read, it's a book for them to learn from. It talks about a lot of history of all the immigrants that came into Puerto Rico, when they left, when they came back, and how how Puerto Rico got to become U.S. citizens. So it goes through that whole timeline, but it also, on top of that, goes through the timeline of the Puerto Rican parrots. It shows you what they had to deal with throughout the many past centuries to overcome their extinctness and, have a place on this planet. So I think this is great for readers or for or I think it's great for children, any children, because it helps them, get more familiar with a new history lesson if they don't already know this. Another great thing about this book it is more of an advanced style book, so there are some bigger vocabulary words. So this could definitely help them advance their reading skills and learn more about those certain vocab words. So the strategy activity I chose is I would actually do a vocabulary strategy. For this book, I would take sentences from the books that have a new vocabulary word for them, and I would underline it and bold it so they could try and read the sentence and figure out what it means. I think this activity would be a great way for them to learn new words and become more familiar with using context clues to define those words. So that is my reading log for chapter number 2 for the book Parrots over Puerto Rico. Thanks for listening.